Good morning. Today is Monday, and we are here again at Wuse Zone 5 Sky Memorial. We are trying to look at what the newspapers are saying for today. A lot happened between the last 24 hours, and we see how the newspaper actually captured most of these things. So let us start our review today. Sorry. And maybe we should kick off today's review from leadership and see what leadership is saying there. The screaming headline there, Senate presidency. Senators brace up for tough race. Says it's too close to call. Kalu, Gaya, or Magege split Senate over deputy slot. Let party supremacy prevail. SCF tells lawmakers. Attempt to impose 2015 standing order we fail. That's from Senator Adiola, and all of that stories are contained on page 4 of today's leadership. And just below the masthead, you have what they call Omokri Defense PMB says Obasanjo Jonathan also attended OIC meetings. Okay, that is resting from the president visits to Saudi Arabia to represent Nigeria on the AIC meeting, and that story is continued on page 8. And just below the picture story there, in fact, the picture story there is that of the president and the former head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar when they met in Mecca yesterday. And beside the picture story there, you have John Oyegun breaks silence on APC crisis. Accuses Oshomole of demarketing party. Edo faction demands national chairman's resignation. Still on Oshomole saga, and that story is continued on page 4. Afe Babalola Varsity Hospital breaks record with first open heart surgery. That's a very massive one there, and that story is contained on page 6. Don't attack PMB, Kumuyi tells Christian. And that is on page 2. And then move on to the next paper, which happens to be The Punch, and let's see what The Punch has for us today. Major headline, the bold caption there, PDP National Working Committee meets this week over 9th National Assembly leadership. Vote leaders of your choice. ACF tells senators, reps elect. And that stories are contained on pages 24 and 25. And there you have below the picture stories there. In fact, the picture story there, that of local rice mill, these farmers, producers. And then below the picture story there, you have government assistance not getting to us. Rice farmers cry out. And that story is on page 2. And just below that, you also have show evidence of earned allowance in 2019 budget. ASU tells FG, and that story is on page 30. Abuja pastor rapes impregnates teenager, blames devil. All right, they always blame the devil for this. And that story is also on page 5. Unizik scandal. Uniben denies issuing embattled lecturer examiners certificate. That story is on pages 4 and 5 of today's Punch. And above the masthead, you have a pool panel. Appoint your replacement. Atiku asks Bukashuwa. Still on that. You lack capacity to run political party. Oyegun tells Oshomole. Boko Haram troops lament poor allowances, and that story is on page 30. Maybe we'll move on to the next paper. And the next paper for today happens to be this day. Screaming headline there. Expectations high over presidential appointment as Buhari returns. Set to name principal aides. And that story is continued on page 9. And just below the masthead there, you have APC risks Zamfara treatment in Bayelsa, Kogi. Yet to file schedule of governor primaries with INEC. Commission to test seizure of Okorocha's certificate of return up to Supreme Court, and both stories are continued on page 9. And then we move on to the next paper, which happens to be The Guardian. The Guardian paper here, major headline: how Buhari's slow decision process may upset economy. Analysts urge speedy formation of cabinet, and that story is continued on page 6. Picture story there is that of the vice president with a citizen on the street greeting the baby. And just below the masthead there, you have PDP flays presidency's silence over Sage's attack on Supreme Court. That's on page 4 of today's Guardian. Sanwo-Olu orders Lagos Badagry road contract back on site. And that story is contained on page 8. But before we move on to the next paper, we would like to take a comment from this one of the citizens here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my dear brother. How are you?
What's the name?
How's work?
The name?
Okay. Television, what's the station, my dear?
This is Television Nigerian.
Television Nigeria, welcome
Yes.
to our press review this morning.
Yes. So we have looked at the headlines for today, and what keeps coming up from the headlines so far is that of the presidency naming his cabinet and also the race for the Senate presidency. But beyond all this, what's your take on, General, what you have seen so
Definitely,
far?
my dear brother, the truth is the act of governance and the present situation in the country right now.
Yes.
For this government to move fast, Mr. President has to name his cabinet. That old system of delaying slows down the act of governance. So whatever paper, wherever it is the truth. Another thing they have to do is that let the Senate and the House of Rep people select the leadership immediately. Leave the past. If you keep on talking on the past, we remain people that keep on talking of yesterday, they're forgetting that we are here today and there is tomorrow. If we're able to remember that tomorrow, my dear brother, we will move ahead. This idea of going past is still taking us to analog days. Right now, we are moving digital. Nigerian government should follow the digital nations, although we are copycats, pick from them. Over the headline of what we're seeing here today is live information of what is happening in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that. So let's continue the review from today's Daily Sun. And the major headline there is still on the attack on Oshomole, APC crisis. Oyegun hits Oshomole, says he's incompetent to lead party, and that story is completely developed on page 39. And below the masthead there you have Kaduna, Lagos, Cross River top on debtor states list, right? And that story is on page 40. Let's move on to the next paper, which happens to be Vanguard. And Vanguard has an interesting headline there. And what the headline says is governors inherit 3.9 trillion naira debt. Lagos, Imo, Ogun, Bauchi, Oyo, Adamawa most affected. How NGF has been assisting states to boost their IGR. That's from the DG. Says it helped states grow revenue from 707.9 billion in 2014 to 1.1 trillion in 2018. How we can make states viable. This is stakeholders and experts. And all of that stories are actually contained on page 5. Well, just beside the picture stories, you have ASU Chef's plan. ASU Chef's planned strike. And that story is on page 13. NFIU, I support local government autonomy. That is coming from the governor of Benue State, right there. And then you have the picture story there of the fight between Anthony Joshua and his opponents in the other fight there. And below the picture story there, you have our constitution laid foundation for Islamization of Nigerians. It should be reviewed. That is from Khan speaking, the Christian Association of Nigeria. The next paper there is that of The Nation. Lawan Ndume set up for race of Senate presidency. And that story is continued on page 6. Just above the masthead, you have Kumi to Christians, don't attack Buhari, actually, as we have taken that. And Eagles are condemned to win, says Pinnick. That story is on page 47 of today's The Nation. But before we move on to that, we would like to take, or before we go ahead, we'll take a comment from another citizen here who has been looking at the review here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. So we have seen the reviews from so far from the papers.
Yes.
Like which of it? I think there is a particular one that captured your attention that you were Vice
New Telegraph.
The New Telegraph.
Yes, population, the profile,
the debt profile of the
profile
states.
of the states.
Yes, and from what you see, like Lagos,
Yes.
Bauchi, Ogun, Adamawa,
Yes,
we are
yes.
actually most affected.
Yes.
What do you have to say? What's your take on it?
Well, we are very much concerned, judging from the situation on ground right now.
Yeah.
To say that within 4 years, the immediate past governor now has recorded $1.4 billion debt profile and 530 billion naira debt profile of Lagos State. And, Lagos has been rated as one of the 7 most influential economy in the whole world. And within West Africa, in Nigeria generally, Lagos is one of the most vibrant economy of Nigeria. So we are very much concerned, judging from the revenue generated by the Lagos State, and we are surprised how comes the Lagos will now become also the highest debt profile of the economy. So these are the concerns that we Nigerians are having. If this is the situation, then the governor has something to explain. How do you balance the ratio between the revenue and the debt profile?
And so you don't think maybe it might be because of the massive projects they have actually undertaken, the several routes they build and the bus stops, whatever it is, the infrastructures in Lagos State?
Yeah, infrastructure in Lagos State, most of those infrastructure now that are even yet to be completed, and most of them are even in partnership with foreign companies. So it's not 100% funding. Is that there's a catapult funding from for the other partners. So these are the considerations we are looking at.
All right, thank you very much for your comment this morning. And maybe that's it. I'm going to round it off for today's review, but we'll be back here tomorrow to continue with our review.